So how has 2020 been?
Not good. It's been rough. As you can tell, standing here, there's no barking in my kennel. It is empty. It should start to be filling up for Christmas, and it is empty. I have one dog that comes 5 days a week, and that's it.
Well, in January of 2020, lots of people had plans for their businesses, including in the dog world. But 2020 turned out like no one could have expected with a global pandemic and COVID. Well, today on NSK9, I'm going back to talk to some people from past seasons of NSK9 and see how their businesses were impacted by COVID.
See, this is it. This is empty.
But I mean, and every other time we've been here,
Yeah.
there's been barking and
Yeah, I have one dog
busy
that's in there. Now, this is the old side of the kennel. And there's nobody.
But I mean, and we joke about it not being tidied up, but there's a reason you can leave the heater and everything in here.
I can leave this stuff in here because there's nobody that comes in.
Yeah.
You should see the other side. It's got my laundry in it that I haven't folded from all my dog blankets.
But I mean, that's the reality.
That's the reality of it. I don't have to. I clean his run. I'll clean the windows and stuff before he comes back on Monday. And that's it. There's no radio on. The radio's always on because there's always dogs in here. I don't usually hang blankets from my, but.
And you, in the past couple of years, have made huge investments in.
We have. We built a new, and we were going to expand this summer, and we didn't.
Because you were always full.
We're always full. Yeah, it was always full. And I actually said to my husband, I said, we need to build that other side. We need to get it going, and we didn't. Like, I'm not going to invest the money until I know what's going to happen. Yeah. So he's going to start doing his, as he always does, his repairs, and then we'll decide next year whether we expand to the other side or not.
Because you really are one of those businesses that when we think of, geez, the travel industry's down and flight attendants have lost their jobs and all that, we don't think about people who do boarding as being part of the travel industry.
Right, because people said, how are you doing? Lots of boarders in? I'm like, no, there's nobody here because nobody's traveling. And I've talked to a couple other people that are doing boarding or trying to do boarding. They're in the same boat as I am. We're all like that, but you don't think of the outfall. You think of, you're right, the airplane, travel, the airlines, that kind of industry. But there's fallout from there. There's us that have no business. Well, did you ever think you'd see something like this as you had to go into a building? My COVID rules.
For Christine, it's not just the boarding side of her business that's been impacted by COVID, but training as well.
I can still train. I didn't train through the part that we were locked down, but I did do it online. So I did it over Discord. So I had 10 students and I'd stand in front of a TV set and teach.
But that's different, isn't it?
It is.
You're not really seeing the behavior.
No, but it was interesting because I did get to see the behavior of some of the dogs at home. And I was appalled because they were jumping all over the place. So I got to see the real dog, but it's not the same. You can't get your hands on it. You're trying to talk to 10 different people at the same time. You can't really see what's going on. So that was really, really different. Oh, I'm gonna turn it, there we go.
Doors are a challenge for me.
Yeah, you can't open the doors.
Yeah. Ever since COVID, we're not allowed to
You're not allowed to touch
handles
doors
anymore.
Well,
so.
if you notice my cleaning supplies,
Yeah.
I wash all my doorknobs.
So you've taken over the dojo.
I have taken over the dojo. This is now my training area, much to my husband's disappointment. But it's a great space. We have mirrors, I can do social distancing, I have my chairs, I can wash the floors easily and everything like that, so it's a wonderful space.
Yeah, no, it is.
And it's close to home.
Yeah, it's very
I
close
don't,
to home.
I don't go anywhere.
You could commute in your pajamas
I
if it
could.
wasn't for the fact that you had to see people.
I have to see people. Yes, yeah, exactly. I could do it when I was doing Discord, though. I could actually stand there in my pajamas.
So did you do your Discord stuff right
I did. It's the quietest place in my house.
Yeah, that makes
There's
sense.
8 dogs in my house.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, I would come out here and set it up so I could do things. So I had the floor space to be able to do things, and they could see. So.
And you were showing people with your dog.
I was doing my dog because I actually had, at the beginning, I had a litter from the pound. I brought in the Amstaff litter. And then I did use my German Shepherd that we got during COVID. And then I randomly used my Sheltie puppies that I whelped during COVID.
It's the advantage of having COVID puppies.
COVID puppies, yeah, they were my own. But now, right now, I'm back to teaching inside. Classes are really small. I get 4 people in a class. Everybody's wearing masks. We're social distancing.
And people are a bit nervous too.
People are nervous, yeah. I've lost a couple of people during it, so they just weren't comfortable, especially since the last lockdown, where we had to really watch what was going on. A couple of people dropped out, so that financially it's hit really hard. But at least I'm still able to teach at this point. But it's really affected my business a lot.
And you're not the only one. I mean,
Oh no, you know what? Everybody's been affected in this business. Boarding kennels, trainers, things like that. We're all feeling the brunt of it.
Coming into 2020, Barb Degg also had exciting plans. Her dog had been certified as a bedbug detective, and her training business was taking off. When we talked last year, Camo was going to become a bedbug specialist.
Exactly.
And was already starting that.
Yeah. So he is trained to find bed bugs, and he actually has been out working finding bed bugs. He's been out. We've done things like rooming houses, call centers, apartment buildings, and he has gone out. He's actually found bed bugs 2 layers thick in gyprock.
Wow.
In a smoke detector from the floor above. So he's found bed bugs, and it's one of his favorite things to do is go out. He'll go out and he'll search for a couple hours at a time. And we were doing some preventative searches. I actually can say that I know exactly where I am, where I say the end of the world happened. Camo was actually a celebrity guest at the Atlantic Sport and RV show, and we were smack in the middle of that when the premier made the announcement that no gatherings over 150, and that was the beginning of the end.
Luckily, there isn't heartworm in Nova Scotia. We only run into heartworm when the dogs have been traveling, especially the southern United States is where it's really bad. So we tend to see it in dogs that have traveled or rescues from, say, Texas or something like that. There is a new emerging form called French heartworm that is in the coyote population. It's been detected a couple times, so in the future, we might run into it in our pets, but right now, it's not a threat.
2 things happened.
Yeah.
He got sick and COVID happened, right?
Two things happened, yeah, coincided. So COVID hit first. So a lot of places that we would go in and we do preventative searches weren't bringing dogs in anymore. They were having the least amount of people in the room, in the areas as possible. So if they did have a bed bug problem, they would just call a pest control operator to get rid of the problem. And even the pest control operators were not treating as if they used to do. They used to treat all surrounding rooms and do inspections. When COVID hit, they were going in and treating where there was a problem, and that was it. So we weren't going in anymore as a preventative or to go in and check and make sure that the problem was resolved. You'd never think that bed bug searching would be impacted. But because I wasn't operating as a pest control operator, bed bugs still never went anywhere, but we would be one more person going in the area.
And then you had on top of that The real classic 2020 story. It wasn't just COVID. It was like so many people had everything happen in 2020.
Exactly. So like many other businesses, pivot became the dirty word of 2020. So we tried pivoting. My classes were shut down. So I was teaching scent detection. My classes were shut down. And then we weren't doing bed bug searches. So we actually trained Camo, cross-trained Camo to find lost dogs. That was our first area of pivot. And we went and we tracked a few dogs. But then we ran into yet another classic 2020 problem, and Camo was diagnosed with a life-threatening heart condition. So he got pulled right off of work that way. So he's now about a month and a half post-surgery, and we're hoping 2021 will bring news that he's allowed to work again, but we're not sure yet.
An end to bedbug searching and major heart surgery? 2020 couldn't get any worse, could it?
So for me, I don't own a facility. When I'm teaching classes, I'm renting facilities and I'm traveling around the province. So in July, I started being able to teach again around the province, which was good. We followed COVID protocols, but then with the second wave coming, classes have been canceled again because the facilities have been broken back down again.
And you're involved with CKC.
I am. I'm the CKC rep.
And that's affected everything for CKC as well,
It is.
hasn't it?
We had bare minimum shows. They were outside in Miramichi in the snow showing their dogs. Just recently, we were supposed to have a CKC trial and then a CKC show, which were canceled at the last minute. I was involved in writing the rules and regs for the COVID rules for rally and obedience. And we did it. We could do it very safely, but it wasn't, our social bit. We didn't get to socialize, which is why a lot of people do this.
It's a big part of this, isn't it?
It is a huge part of it, and the ribbons. But
And the ribbons, of
always
course.
the ribbons.
Always the ribbons.
Always the ribbons. But so our social life is different for the dog world, because we don't get to see people as much as we used to at the dog shows or the trials and things like that. So it's so strange.
And lest you think that struggling businesses and canceled events are the only impact of COVID, there's more. One that probably won't show its full impact for years to come. COVID puppies.
A lot of puppies.
Is that good, or what's going to happen?
My biggest fear is when people go back to work. I'm already seeing it when people started to go back into work. Separation anxiety. Oh, now I don't have time for the puppy. Things like that. So I have a feeling a lot of puppies are going to be returned. People didn't think about the breed. They just wanted a puppy. And they didn't think about the breed they got. And they picked one up and they're like, oh no.
And the breed that might
It's a
have been
lot.
suitable when you're at home all the time
Right.
is different than the breed
Then
that
when
might
they're
be
not
okay.
at home. That's right. That's right.
And they'll be socialized different, right? Because now you have a dog that is used to having someone around all the time.
Exactly. And now
suddenly-
nobody is there. Plus the fact they're not used to having people come in to their homes because nobody comes to visit. So dogs are finding that a problem. Everybody got out and everybody walked their dogs. That created a whole different problem for us. With kennel cough, that was my big thing this summer, was kennel cough, because everybody wanted to walk their dogs. And we had a huge outbreak of kennel cough. I had to shut down 3 times because of kennel cough. I've never seen it spread. And somebody may say, yes, we have, but I've never seen it go through as much and be as strong as what we've had. I sent my dog to daycare. My German Shepherd went to daycare because we got a puppy during COVID and I needed him socialized. And I didn't have the people coming to my home. I didn't have the dogs. He got to socialize with our dogs, but not as much with other dogs. So I sent him to daycare.
And that's the real fear, isn't it? These dogs won't be properly socialized.
They're fearful and they didn't
There'll be
get
dog on dog fear.
dog
too.
on dog fear and people, because they don't get to see the strangers especially coming into their homes.
Is it possible to address that after that's ingrained in them as a puppy?
For some of them it is. Some of them, we just call them COVID puppies. And that's what it is. And later on, because this has gone on so long, we're 9 months into it.
Yeah, we're probably 9 months, and
Yep.
we might be
and
another
we're
9
and
months.
we're at that point where it's crucial for those dogs to be socialized with other dogs, to be socialized with people. And I sent a lot of my clients that called me about puppy kindergarten classes because I couldn't have them because we're on top of each other. The dogs, we got to go in and pick up the puppies and get them away. I am teaching puppy kindergarten now, so they get to play with other dogs. I would phone my clients and say, you need to send them to daycare. And I would pick and choose my daycares that I like and send them to that so that they could socialize with other dogs.
Because that's really the only option, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a huge part of their socialization because people were getting their puppies young and they weren't getting that playtime with their litter mates or with other puppies. And I know one particular daycare had a certain day and it was puppies. And that's when I sent my dog. Off he went to daycare. Me.
Yeah, you were the trainer.
Me, the trainer. But I had to. I knew it was so important for him to have that opportunity to play with other puppies and do other things and be away from home and be away from us. So that was important.
Is that what you would recommend other people do? Is get your dog, find a way to socialize them?
Find a way to socialize.
Friends with puppies?
Yeah,
or?
friends with, well, yeah, but then we have to find the appropriate place. And now it's getting to be winter and it's getting to be really muddy and yuck outside, and we're back indoors again, and we can't be indoors too much. So I highly recommend it, and that is very different for me to say go to daycare. But I had to.
Dogs do feel pain much like people do, and it's actually been determined that their nervous system detects noxious stimuli much like humans do. In general, that leads to pets being able to feel a range of pain, whether that's from a small splinter to a larger source of pain, such as a fractured leg.
Before COVID, you were planning to open this clinic, and you opened it in mid-COVID. So how did that go?
A lot of sleepless nights, for sure. Yeah, but we were very lucky that most of the building was actually completed by the time COVID really hit hard.
COVID was also a period of triumph over challenge for many people. Take doctors Nolan Osborne and Rhonda McDonald, who had planned their dream, an animal hospital, and opened it in the middle of a pandemic.
So this is our dental surgery suite. So whether your pet needs a dental cleaning or actually things like dental extractions, which is very common.
How has COVID affected how you operate a clinic?
Well, it's made it much more complex. Yeah. So it usually when we see an animal, we're actually seeing the animal and the owner at the same time. And it's very close because the owner is holding their pet and you're doing a physical exam and we're in close contact and talking, and that we can't do that anymore, at least not for the time being. And hopefully it changes really soon, but so now it's a lot more, we're in close physical contact with the dog or the cat, but we're talking to the phone, we're talking to the owner over the phone, and that makes it a little bit more complex. So this is our OR suite. This is where we do what we call clean surgeries, compared to dentistry, which is actually more of like a dirty procedure because there's so much oral bacteria. This is an extremely sterile environment in here. So this is where we do spays, neuters, and then more advanced surgery like orthopedic surgery, ACL repairs, that type of thing. Yeah. So the whole design purpose, or one of the main features when we made the building, is to have it so that owners could come back and not feel that there's a back room and a front room. We want them to be able to come through and see what's happening, and even to be able to have a window in to see what the surgery looks like.
And it can be quite educational as well, because a big thing that clients always say when they come back here is that, oh, it looks like a real hospital. And it is, but it's just for your pet instead.
What would you say the biggest impact of COVID has been on the opening of your clinic?
To me, stress, the stress level. It was one thing to open a new clinic, but to open in the middle of a global pandemic where everybody along the chain that helped us out, whether it's the bank, suppliers, everybody, they all were afraid for us. So to actually absorb that stress when we were opening was very difficult.
Yeah.
Because we'd have we just get our telecommunication system set up, and they were just flabbergasted that we were even trying to open.
Yeah.
So to have that much fear at the beginning was a lot to deal with, but I feel like we're over the hump now. So we've kind of made it through. We know it's possible to continue. It's not going to be easy, but that was a mental challenge that I've never had to deal with before, and hopefully never have to again.
Yeah, it was a lot of stress of the unknown that in the end we didn't have to worry as much as we did, but again, you're worrying about the unexpected.
I actually went to a point now that I actually have taken a day job per se to pay the bills, because between 2020 and Cameron's heart condition, the bills had to be paid somehow, including his medical bills. So 2020, I had the classic 2020. If it could go wrong, it did.
Do you foresee this getting better when the pandemic ends? Are people going to go back to getting dogs in for bed bugs and searches?
It's hard to say. I've been asked that a few times. I think when people travel more, bed bugs are going to become a bigger problem again. And that's part of the thing, is people are traveling, so they're not bringing home as many bed bugs. So that goes hand in hand. Whether they bring in more dogs or not, I think they probably will, because, again, people still don't want chemicals. People still don't want chemicals, but I think it's going to be a couple of years before they even start looking at the dogs as a preventative.
So in terms of your business, a year from now, let's hope people have their vaccines and things are at some level of normal.
Yeah.
Does all this come back?
I almost shut down. I was very close to shutting down the whole business, training, boarding, but I'm hoping the summertime, it was fine because the people got to travel. Cape Breton was the hot spot to go to. Everybody went, and in the fall, but I'll keep going. I don't have a choice. I'm not a 9-to-5er. Like, I can't do that. But I'll stay open, see what happens. Hopefully people start training again.
Visit us online to tell us your dog stories for possible inclusion in future episodes. And don't forget to share photos of your canine friends on social media with the hashtag NSK9. Why did you decide not to shut down?
I love doing this. I love training. Boarding is what I do. I love the interaction with people's dogs. I have some amazing clients, so I'm just hoping they come back. People get to travel again, but I don't know when.
One Nova Scotia woman has combined her passion for ocean protection with her love for dogs and is making leashes from ocean debris. That's next week on NSK9.
Yeah, which again, I think is like the most exciting part of this whole project. It's one thing for me to come out and do my beach walks and find my garbage. What I've always wanted to instill is that, again, that awareness, and for people to go out and do it themselves. And with this project now, I mean, people know me to be, again, like the crazy garbage picker upper of the beach, but other people are starting to do it. And not to say that they haven't always been doing it, but now they're reaching out and making social media posts about it, right? And spreading awareness their own way organically too.